The rumour mill is not slowing down in the Championship. We're back for another episode, guys. As always, if you do going to enjoy, make sure to leave a like and do get your thoughts of your club's transfer window so far in the comments down below. Without any further ado though, let's jump into some done deals. Starting out with Stoke City, who have completed a season-long loan deal for Arsenal defender Harry Clarke. This will be his fourth loan spell away from Arsenal. By all accounts, had a good season last time around at Hibernian and is fairly versatile as well. You'd imagine that Stoke had brought him in to play on the right-hand side of their defence, but for Hibernian last season, he also played on the left and a little bit in the middle as well. But by all accounts, looks like a good deal on a season-long loan. Reading completed the loan signing of goalkeeper Joe Lumley. I'm a little bit conflicted on this one. We went into this deal in a little bit more detail on last time's video, so do go ahead and check that one out, but this rumour has since been confirmed. We saw Swansea complete a deal for MK Dons centre-half Harry Darling. I think this one's quite the exciting one for Swansea actually. He looks like a perfect fit into this Swansea system, well suited to a back three, previously worked with Russ Martin at MK Dons as well, and has an eye for a goal. He scored 10 goals across all competitions for MK Dons last season. In a back three, like we mentioned, I think he'll be a perfect fit into that ball-playing centre-half who can take the ball out with him into midfield, and by all accounts, looks like a really good deal, particularly at just 22 years old. As has QPR's deal for Jake Clarke-Salter, signing a 4-year deal. I think QPR are getting a really good deal here for the Chelsea defender. 24 years old, like the look of him at Coventry last time. Once again, we spoke about Jake Clarke-Salter in a little bit more detail on last time's video, but this one has since been confirmed. Good business here by QPR, I'd say. And another good bit of business by QPR, they've also completed a deal for Dutch defender Kenneth Paal. He's coming over on a free transfer with his contract having expired. 24 years old as well, so another fairly young player that QPR here are targeting with a decent pedigree. Played a lot of minutes in the Eredivisie. Luton have completed a deal for Alfie Doherty. We've not really seen all too much of him over these last few years. He had a few minutes here and there for Cardiff and for Stoke as well, but at Luton it feels like he could nail down a first team spot. He has been linked with a move to Luton in the past as well. They resurfaced their interest in him and this time did manage to get the signing over the line. 22 years old, fits into the general profile of player that Nathan Jones likes to go after. I remember from his Charlton days, that season they had in the Championship, he looked like one of their biggest prospects from that season, so it'll be interesting to see if Luton can get him back on track. But those are some of the recently completed deals we've seen go through in the Championship. Now without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into some rumours. Spoke about Freddie Woodman on quite a few of the recent episodes, but it seems like his deal to sign for PNE is pretty much concluded as of recording. So I'm quite hopeful for what this could mean for North End going forward. Obviously, we were never realistically going to get Daniel Everson back. It would be some coup by any Championship club if they get him on a loan deal for this season, but yeah, I'm quite happy with Woodman as a replacement for Everson, I have to say. Middlesbrough have been linked with the move for Watford goalkeeper Ben Foster, who's available this summer. Now, Foster isn't coming off the back of a good season for Watford, obviously a relegation, didn't exactly cover himself in glory in that season, but he was peppered with shots throughout the year. He looked alright, to be fair, I thought, in the first half of that season where Watford were promoted. Obviously lost his place to Bachmann in the second half of that season. But this one really depends on what Foster wants to do in terms of his career from now on. You know, at the age he is right now, he has been linked to other Premier League clubs where obviously he'd go in as either the second or third choice option. A move to the MLS has also been discussed previously with Foster as well. But if he was to go to Middlesbrough, you'd imagine that would be him as the number one. That really sort of begs the question what Foster wants from this point of his career. Does he still want to be that number one, or is he happy to be the man in the background for a Premier League side? I think that anyone that Borough get, to be honest, is a step up from Joe Lumley from last season, but maybe there are a few other goalkeeper options that they'll be looking into first. One goalkeeper who has been playing the backup role for the past few years is Tom Heaton. He's also been linked with a move to Middlesbrough. Would be another short-term option, as would Ben Foster, but someone else who would add experience into that position. And as a potential younger option, they've also been exploring the possibility of bringing in Jack Butland. He's got 12 months to run on his contract at Crystal Palace, but seemingly wants to be back playing first-team football, and at Palace he's not going to get that next season. He's steadily been trying to build his career back up, obviously, previously. His last couple of seasons at Stoke, Butland was in pretty disastrous form, to be honest. That last season especially, when he was sort of in and out of the side, he was absolutely all over the place. But over his 2 seasons with Crystal Palace, he's only featured in 17 matches, with a lot of them coming in cup competitions and things like that. But a move back to the Championship now that Butland has sorted his head out, maybe on the cards. Watford are one interested party in Aston Villa striker Keinan Davis. Now, he had a terrific loan spell with Nottingham Forest, 15 starts, 3 appearances from the bench, 5 goals and 2 assists, but that doesn't really paint the picture of just how important he was in that Forest setup in the second half of the season in terms of dropping back into play, making things happen, linking everything, and actually being that final man and breaking lines. His overall game, I think, has improved immensely over the last few years. Now, you would have imagined that the natural move for Davis would have been a permanent move to Nottingham Forest. However, they're now exploring other options in terms of bringing in another striker, seemingly so with a bit of a disagreement over what Forest value him at and Aston Villa. So perhaps a move elsewhere could be on the cards. Now, Watford are in desperate need of strikers at the moment. They're looking quite light in this position at the moment, which is the total contrast of Watford last time they were in the Championship, because they had an excess of strikers that time. But Keinan Davis would be a marvellous option for any Championship club. This one would really depend on the finances, whether Villa would sanction another loan deal or whether they'd be looking for that permanent move for him. Cameron Archer has also been linked with a move to Watford as well, so they're clearly looking at a couple of the Villa boys. And Belikofobe is also another striker who Watford are looking at this point in time. Probably not a striker who will get you jumping out your chair if you're a Watford fan and you're aiming to go for the top 2 this season, but a solid player nonetheless. He had a good loan spell with Millwall last season, who are also looking to get him back for another year. 12 goals and 3 assists, actually his best goal scoring season since 2015. He does have that pre-established relationship with Watford manager Rob Edwards as well. I think that Edwards was the Wolves interim manager for a short period whilst Afobe was at the club, so that could be a deal worth exploring for Watford. We spoke about Troy Parrott and his links to Championship clubs last time. Sunderland have been another club who have since been linked to the Spurs striker. Had a good loan spell in League One last season with MK Dons, and him and Stewart up front, I think that would be quite the partnership for the Championship. Burnley are interested in Millwall's Jed Wallace, who have also reportedly offered him a contract. Obviously, his deal at Millwall has now expired. He is a free agent, and several Championship clubs have been linked with a move to the winger. I'm sure that Millwall will be desperate to keep hold of him, but the likelihood is he goes to, one of the parachute teams. West Brom have been heavily linked with the winger, but a move to Burnley would also be quite interesting. He's 28. He's been consistently one of the best wingers in the Championship for the past 4 or so seasons now. 6 goals, 12 assists last season. One of the best set piece takers and creative outlets, and would definitely give Burnley a different dynamic on that right hand side. And Burnley have also reportedly lodged a £4 million bid for MK Dons' Scott Twine. It's no surprise to see Burnley looking to add more creativity into their side, but if they do manage to pull off a deal for both Jed Wallace and Scott Twine, then suddenly their season going into next season is looking completely different, and there's a hell of a lot more positive momentum around the club, even with the players that they are expected to leave, and we'll talk about one of them later on in the video. Twine on one side and Wallace on the other, I think is great creativity for the Championship. He got 20 goals, 13 assists last season in League One. We spoke about Hull's interest last time around as well, but Burnley are also now sniffing around. Watford goalkeeper Daniel Bachmann is being linked with a move to Manchester United as they look to pursue another number 2. Watford will be losing a good goalkeeper here. I believe he's still got a couple of years left to run on his contract, so Watford will be looking for a few million to go ahead and sanction this sale. But by all accounts, it does seem like there will be quite a few outgoings of Watford over these next few weeks, and obviously once those are finalised and some money does come back into the club, I think then we'll properly see Watford dipping into the transfer market in terms of their incomings for the season. Aberdeen's Lewis Ferguson is a wanted man at this point in time, with reportedly Millwall putting in a 1.5 million bid for the midfielder. Now, it's no surprise to see Millwall going after a player like Ferguson, a midfielder who can get you a goal. 16 goals he scored across all competitions last season for Aberdeen. With the departures from their club this summer, they're going to need someone in the ilk of Ferguson. Now, Millwall don't tend to splash all too much cash, but they have shown that there is money available there over the past few years with some of the players that they have bid for, albeit they've not always got those deals over the line. But Lewis Ferguson would be a terrific addition into that squad. I think a report from the Times claimed that Aberdeen were potentially looking for around 3 million for him, which might not be as feasible for Millwall, but they'll certainly test their resolve with that first bid. Watford have also been mentioned for the midfielder as well, who seems to have quite a bit of interest after the season he's coming off. Dwight McNeil is being linked with a move away from Burnley at this point in time, with several Premier League clubs currently interested. The likes of Everton, Spurs and West Ham have all been discussed. This would make sense with Burnley's recent link to Jed Wallace, that they are looking to add a little bit more depth into their wide options. We probably expect Cornet to go ahead and leave as well, but McNeil is one of those that I've probably been a little bit 50-50 on coming into this season in terms of whether I'd imagine he'd stay or go, but I suppose that's up to the discretion of the Premier League clubs and the money they bid for him. Reportedly so, Leeds United are interested in a move for Sheffield United's Sander Berge. Now, as of recording, Leeds haven't made any official contact with Sheffield United, but there have been some rumblings that there is a little bit of interest there. It would make sense that Leeds are looking to add more depth into their midfield with the likely departures that they're going to have into that position. Berge is an interesting one because I'd love to see Sheffield United keep hold of him, you know, get a full season out of him in the Championship. I think towards the back end of last season, he really started to show his class and his worth to this Sheffield United setup. But I'd imagine if a sizable bid does come in from the Premier League, that will probably force Sheffield United's hand. As of recording, by all accounts, it seems like Luton will get a deal over the line for goalkeeper Matt Macey. We also discussed this one in a previous video. And Luton have also been given permission to speak to Barnsley striker Cauley Woodrow. Now, this one would be going full circle, really, because it actually came up through the Luton Youth Academy. I quite like Cauley Woodrow as it goes. He didn't have his greatest season last time around, but I don't think that anyone in that Barnsley squad did, to be honest. But individually so, I do think there's a good player there in Woodrow, and I think he's another one that really fits the sort of profile that Luton tend to go after. 27 years old, he's hit double figures in the Championship twice. Last season wasn't his greatest year, he just scored 4 goals, but he's been playing in a slightly different role, dropping a little bit deeper into that number 10 role. But in the 2 seasons prior to this one just gone by, he scored 14 goals and 13 the year after. I quite like Woodrow as it goes. He's got the ability to link play and certainly has an eye for goal as well. But guys, there we have it. That will now wrap it up for today's video. So as always, if you've seen any other rumours going around the Championship at this point in time, make sure to get them in the comments down below and we'll have a bit of a chat about them next time. Apart from that though guys, thank you very much for tuning in to today's video. Leave a like if you did go on to enjoy, and do stick around and subscribe for some regular Championship content. Thanks for watching though guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.